Well, it's another in-state rivalry week, our last one for the year. Probably our most hostile environment that we've had to have played in so far. Just going to Hilton, obviously they have a great home court advantage and a great fan base, and so I don't think our team will be too upset about it just because they're used to playing in front of crowds, but usually their crowds are cheering for them and not against them, so that part might be a little bit different. But a very different looking Iowa State team than in the past, very freshman dominant. Obviously, Kelsey Jones, I feel like they've had a Jones there forever, and she's going to, be a great shooter again. Audie Crooks is just a really, really hard person to defend. Excellent shooter on the block, and she's just hard to get around. So they're going to pose a lot of, defensive challenges for us.
I'm sure with past teams, you go into this game and you do really have to emphasize the environment as being a factor. And I'm sure you mentioned it this week, but how much does this team feel like that's just kind of business as usual at this point?
I think that's a good way to put it, Dargan. It is kind of business as usual. I like that. I think it's very true. I think everywhere we go, it seems like it's sold out environments, whether it's Wisconsin, Rutgers, or whatever. So, that's just part of what we have to deal with. And, it's something now. I think if it wasn't there, it'd almost be disappointing or, like lackluster.
You guys scored 58 points here in the loss to Kansas State. You're averaging 97 points per game over the last 5 games. What to you are the biggest things that stand out about the last 5 games offensively that changed compared to that Kansas State game?
I think it's a matter of us sharing the ball a little bit better. I mean, when you look at that Kansas State loss, we had our lowest assists of the year. So sharing the ball a little bit better, moving the ball, a little bit more. And I think other people have just gotten their confidence and have had more opportunities to shoot the ball and get their confidence.
Sid Fulter, 7 for 7 against Bowling Green. You gave her a locker room shout out for those 14 rebounds earlier in the year. What sort of growth have you seen out of her this season, stepping into that role? And what's it like to coach somebody like that off the bench?
Yeah, Sid is, she's our blue collar dog. She just gets after it all the time. She's somebody that has great tenacity. Just brings energy off the bench. She can rebound, she can score, she can defend, she's physical. She just kind of has that little bit of that mean streak that I like, and she brings that to our team. So she's been playing really well for us.
How do you coach, you say go dive after that ball, how do you coach that out of somebody like that?
That's a lot just innate. It's innate in their personality and their, the way that they play. We certainly reward that, and I think anytime as a coach you reward good behavior, you get more of it. There's some coaches that always, bring up bad behavior, but I think rewarding good behavior is a better way to coach, in my opinion. So, we celebrate it, right, when it happens, so that we hope it keeps happening.
I asked the kids this, but the last couple of games, maybe more than that, have been sort of odd games in terms of Iowa State. Last year nobody could find a basket. 2 years ago you got beat in the post on the boards, which was unthinkable. What is it about this rivalry that leads to kind of confounding results?
Yeah, I just haven't really looked back to 2 years ago when we lost there, to be quite honest. I just remember we lost there. But, home court has meant a lot in this rivalry. I think, they'll do a great job of denying Caitlin and sagging off everybody else. That's kind of a scheme that, they use a lot. And so we have to be ready for that. And, the way that our other people have been shooting of late, hopefully that's going to negate that a little bit.
What have you seen from Kate Martin over these last 5 games? I know before the season you mentioned she's playing like a pro. She's being aggressive. We didn't see that necessarily the first few games, but the last 5 she's been playing at a different level.
Yeah, I think Kate could have been on the all-tournament team in the Gulf Coast Classic. I think she's just playing with confidence. She's playing free. And yeah, she didn't start out the year like that for some reason. And I don't know what it was, because she was playing like that all the way up until the beginning of the year. And maybe it was just that realization of this is really my last year. But she's having fun now, and really, I mean, she was 7 for 9 from the field. She had 3 block shots last game. I mean, she's playing really well.
Crooks is really, she's got great hands, really, nice touch. Speed isn't her thing. How much do you want to, does that make you really want to run?
I think she's better afoot than people give her credit for. I really do. I think she can, I'm not saying she can play 20 minutes in a row like that or 10 minutes in a row like that, but I think she gets up and down the court. I've always been impressed with her ability to get up and down the court. And her hands are good, like you said, and she's an unbelievable passer. But man, she's shooting, 70% almost from the field. But I have to remind my post players that, Sharon, you're shooting 70% from the field as well.
Do they alternate Crooks with Nelly?
Yeah, right. The 6'4", 6'5". They list her as number 0. So yeah, they're alternating at the post position.
How do you handle their height overall? And I mean, they've got a number of kids that are 6'2", the Addie Brown and.
Yeah, I mean, they're bigger than us in the guard position for sure. And you got Naimir Dew at 6'2", Addie Brown at 6'2". I mean, they're bigger than we are. Kelsey Jones is 5'10". So that's something that we have to. We can't grow, we can't change it. So let's just do the best we can with what we have, and this is what we're going to be facing all year. So we got to get used to it and can't use that as an excuse or. So it's just something that's a reality of life. But we do have, Sid coming off the bench that gives us a little bit more height, and so, that's good. Hopefully, and I don't know what Hannah's status is. I have no idea. But, if, she's coming off the bench, that's another weapon that we have.
Go back to Sharon for a second. There's been a lot of plays, it seems like these last couple games, where Caitlin drives into the lane and almost kind of pauses for a second, like a quarterback reading a defensive end on an option, and it's led to a lot of easy buckets for Sharon. I'm just wondering, how have you seen those two in particular, their chemistry build as this year's gone on? Obviously, that was so key with Monica, was Caitlin's chemistry with her. How have you seen Caitlin and Sharon, start to build some of that?
Yeah, and I think it's still growing. It's getting better all the time, Remember, Sharon wasn't our starter this summer either. And so, they didn't have a lot of that time together this summer. But I think Caitlin is starting to understand that Sharon can really get the job done and gaining confidence with that. And the more confidence she gets in that, the more confidence Sharon's going to have. So I think that chemistry is growing all the time, but I think we have seen some good moments of it.
I think fans have kind of grown accustomed to obviously Megan Gustafson and the Monica Sonano, but Sharon, just talk about what she's been able to do. I think it's not obviously the numbers that the 18, 20 points a game that Monica or Megan could do, but just I feel like Sharon doesn't get enough credit for what she's done so far this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Sharon's doing a tremendous job, and the thing is, she's also splitting minutes with Addie, so her numbers aren't going to be just pop off the charts like points per game or rebounds, because they are splitting time. And then Hannah, too, is getting time there. So sometimes, it's a 3-way split in there. But her percentages, you cannot argue with.
With Sharon, now that